So it's now been discovered that men can actually multitask. And it's through the easiest and most trivial of things. Men can watch porn, masturbate, and watch the door all at once. Welcome to Break Time on Westside, your number one break time podcast channel, giving you the best of break time podcast shows. Now, today is the fan favorite section, FFS, episode 9. We've lasted pretty long, and the season is about to come to an end, but do not worry, we shall still have some more on the way. Now, first of all, before we get into all the fan favorite shit, or should I say with all the fan shit, Bien Aime of Sauti Soul has ruined shit for us. For those of you that don't know who he is a member of the Kenyan band known as Sauti Soul, properly international, very good music. You should check them out. If you ever get a chance, you will not be disappointed for one bit. Now, this guy recently, about a week and a half back, posted up this video of him, giving his girl like a lap dance and shit, and, being all nice and sweet because it was her birthday. Which is all sweet, it's a proper aw moment for everybody. Now the problem is his caption. The guy was being all sweet with a girlfriend, and he was like, oh, just wanted to say happy birthday to my number one angel, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. I love you. And the one part that just happened to ruin it all for us, men, like the one that happened to ruin it all for all of us niggas, was when he decided to put caps on the following words: your face is my throne. Now, after that was said, I ain't gonna lie to you for 1 second and say that, it was all fine and dandy, because it wasn't. It wasn't for one bit. Because all of a sudden, shorties are posting up on their stories this whole thing of, dear future husband, your face is my throne. Like, we know what you mean. And the first person I saw it from was a pal of mine called Lutfia. Shout out to you, Lutfia. You're a mad friend. And all of a sudden, it's this whole thing of shorties are posting and reposting this shit. Fine, yes, I get it. It's an awe moment, but we get what the whole your face is my throne thing is from a shorty's perspective. Because, this whole face sitting thing is a thing, apparently. Shorties want to sit on a nigga's face for first of all, if you're a guy and you've ever watched this series called The Boys, you know why you wouldn't want to do that shit. If you watched it, please remind all the people with you who might be listening to this why it is you wouldn't want this whole face-sitting situation to happen. Because let's be honest, it didn't go down too well for the guy who let his face get sat on. But it was this whole funny thing of, your face is my throne, your face is my throne. And out of all the people that I follow on Instagram, it was all girls and one guy, I'm not going to say I question his sexuality, but one guy managed to post it up. He didn't add the caption of, your face is my throne, but, he just posted it up because it was a proper awe moment. And I can appreciate that. I could probably post that if it didn't have your face is my throne on it. Because shorties are all about this whole, I want to sit on your face. And here's the thing, ladies, if you ever hear this, I'm going to tell it to you straight up. It is not a turn on for a guy if you tell him that you want to sit on his face. I'm going to be very honest with you about that. It's not a turn on for us. If you tell a nigga, I want to ride that dick, fine, that's a turn on. As it means that we're about to get the business. Me, you between the sheets, that's a turn on for pretty much anyone who's horny at the time, who's feeling you. So it can work. But I want to sit on your face? That shit don't work with us niggas. It don't work that way. We ain't built like that. Fine, we can go down on you, but please, leave the whole I'm gonna sit on your face thing for, more experienced professionals. I ain't ready for that shit. And y'all are the ones who usually say, don't replicate what you see in porn. That's some straight out of porn shit. Don't ask me how I know, but shit, that's some straight out of porn shit. And please don't sit on our faces. For those of us who've watched The Boys, we know what usually happens afterwards. But anyways, that aside, I need to pick a fight with women as much as I've been, all night for the first 5 minutes or so. Now, there's this whole thing of men are trash. For those of you that have listened to, battle of the sexes. There's a point where I actually discussed men are trash, and actually the name of that topic is, men are trash, but dick is inevitable. Has more views than most of the other shows, but I'll be very honest about this. I've been going up against this whole men are trash thing for such a long time, and I've been going up against women who constantly say, oh, men are trash, men are trash, men are trash, because I feel like it's very degrading to the common human male, well, actually to just about any human male, because you're defining the male human being as, a bad thing. And there's a lot of xenophobia attacks that have been happening around SA, South Africa, for a long time. But, they kind of spiked up recently. And it's not a very good thing. I don't condone it. And I honestly think that the people behind it shouldn't be doing what it is that they're doing. You cannot blame foreigners for taking your jobs. If you actually think about it, the problem with jobs is an internal issue. It's an internal matter. It's not caused by external factors such as, foreigners. Because most of these foreigners are actually just coming for school. Like, they're not even really taking up jobs. Not to talk crap about SA, but considering apartheid and xenophobia, we are not too keen on going to South Africa that much, unless it's probably to get some expensive shit or brag that we went on holiday. Usually after all of that, we like to come back to our country because, even though Kenya's corrupt and shit, like, at least we're not discriminated for being African, unless it's some Chinese who's being racist to you, or Indian. Some Indians do that. But for the most part, we're pretty much good to each other. There's no, open racism that happens. So, when people were busy saying, men are trash, someone decided to brief me on the whole origin of men are trash, because they said, men are trash was brought up because women in South Africa were being raped and murdered by very, very bad men, and they started it off as a campaign against the very men that do that. I'm not gonna say that the guys that do that probably aren't on Instagram, but because they could be. I can't be entirely sure about that. I don't know all the niggas who rape and murder. And well, plus it was apparently also being pushed against generally the men that rape, murder, and abuse women. But here's the thing. Here's the whole gist of why I have a problem with it either way. It's still referring to men. Like, the fact that you say men are trash, it refers to the man. And I'm gonna come out and call it was a bullshit campaign slogan. That's how it is. It's a bullshit campaign slogan. If you guys want to know about bullshit campaigns, back in around 2017, Kendall Jenner did that whole Pepsi ad where, she did this whole ad where apparently she gave Pepsi to protesters and shit, and it brought a very bad image that the internet will not forget and that the company had to learn from. It came out and it spoke, as in it made it look like they didn't care about what protesters were protesting for. It almost seemed like a mockery towards demonstrating, of which, demonstrations have good and bad reasons. Like, a demonstration is a demonstration, they have their reasons and so on. And especially around that time when there were quite a number of demonstrations that were going in towards a good cause. I think around that time it was supposed to be, Black Lives Matter. And it didn't seem very appropriate. And they got a lot of backlash from that. The reason I'm bringing that up is, know how you're going to put your campaigns. Don't just come and say men are trash, and then walk away and expect everyone to be okay with it. Of course, women now have started taking the whole issue of feminism and bringing their own social issues within it. Feminism was essentially supposed to bring equality between the man and the woman. And nowadays, they use it to, step on the man. They use it to turn the man into a piece of garbage and quote unquote empower the woman, of which nowadays it's usually just about, women entitlement. And to move it on, I personally think that was a bad campaign. If you want to campaign against murder, rape, and, abuse, whether it's, gender-based violence or sexual abuse or anything of that matter, there's ways that you can do that. there's a much better campaign that you can use for that. People against GBV. Like you can come up with slogans for that, but not men are trash. The whole men are trash concept pretty much paints a bad picture on the man in general. And in addition to that, it also adds on to the fact that like it's like these crimes are perpetrated by men alone. Like women also do this shit. If you're Kenyan and you're listening to this, you probably know, like, there's stories all over about how women have killed men to get their inheritance. Like wives have killed husbands. Women have killed men. Like women have actually paid for people to kill men. Women rape men. I can remember back in high school, there was this common story that guys had about some watchman that was raped by about 7 high school girls. And, back then, we could make fun of it because we never took it too seriously, but it's a pretty serious thing. Like the guy pretty much died. And when you think about it, women also commit these acts. So why the hell is it that it's being turned into men are trash? And the dumbest thing about it is there's women that are coming up and they're like, oh, if you're not one of the people that commits this, then it shouldn't be affecting you. Like, it fucking says men. What the fuck do you expect me to expect? As in, like, what do you expect me to do about it? So if you're a woman and you're hearing this, please stop saying men are trash, regardless of the reason why you're saying it. Because if you want to push a campaign, find a better way to do it. Stop abusing a whole gender of people. Because either way, you're still going to need us to produce babies. And as usual, always put that process in that progress or be the prevention. I think I've been too brutal on people for 2 seconds. It's about time you get back to that work. If you guys have any thoughts, feedback, you can always hit me up on breaktime_westside. My personal IG is @UnrealKevinJames. I will see you guys later.